There is so much more to your potential as a creator than you even recognize. It's easy to mistake in this modern world that the majority of the growth and the development that we can realize for ourselves is limited to what I would call a horizontal plane, which includes developing certain skill sets with technology and acquiring certain knowledge, which is all relatively useful, but really pales in comparison to what I call the vertical plane of growth, which is, from this perspective, a bit more of an esoteric development of the self. But the development on this vertical plane is going to become more and more important because, as we can see in the advent of this emerging technology of artificial intelligence, our role in the world is going to transform because a lot of what we once were doing is going to become basically redundant. The advancements in technology are so great that these computers, these programs, and these robots are going to be able to do a lot of these things for us. So then, what is our role? Well, some people may think that our role will be to be able to interact with this artificial intelligence and to be able to co-create with it, to be able to utilize it, to be able to master the ability to work with it. And that might be relatively useful as a skill. But that too is on the horizontal plane. The vertical plane of development is an entirely different realm. It is of a sort of superhuman nature, and it actually sees the advancements in technology such as AI as really the permission slip that they are. The intelligence that we refer to when we talk about something like AI is not the result of the development of technology. What we are seeing is actually a reflection of our own growth, our own evolution as humans, as beings, that we're projecting outside of ourselves in the form of technology, which seemingly is becoming more and more advanced. But really it is ourselves that are becoming more and more advanced. We're becoming more and more able, with a greater and greater capacity, to channel the intelligence of our true nature into form, to manifest that intelligence before our very eyes in this physical world. And this is an important distinction because the path that we're heading down right now as a collective with this incredible technology which is emerging is a bit of a delicate and even dangerous situation because many people are looking at this technology and attributing it with a sort of power and outsourcing their own power to these devices and technologies. And this is a grave mistake. Because the more dependent we become on these devices and technologies, the more we undermine ourselves. Because it is not the technology that has the power any more than it is our personal self that has the power, but it is a sort of channeling, a sort of conduit for the intelligence that is life to move through it, to move through you, to move through myself. For that intelligence to animate and conduct our movements, our thinking, our creativity, and our actions. So if we mistakenly attribute that intelligence with technology, and we therefore give ourselves over to its abilities, and we misperceive and misunderstand the nature of what it really is, then we potentially move down a path where we limit our own capacity for channeling that intelligence, for harnessing that intelligence, for allowing that intelligence. So if we were to look at these technologies as what they really are, these permission slips, these symbols of our own mastery, of our own evolution, we can utilize them to some degree, but they are really reflecting back to us a more inherent, a more innate, a more natural and organic form of channeling intelligence, where we are not dependent on anything outside of ourselves, where we are not beholden to technology to be able to access these abilities, but rather through the cultivation of this vertical plane of growth, of development, we are able to embody the natural talents, abilities, and skill sets that we already are. Because like anything that you are trying to create or become, it seems as though there's this outward movement to realizing and actualizing that within your reality. But really all of this is a shift in perception to be able to recognize from a different point of perception, a different point of view of what is already here and now. It is not that we are moving towards an outcome. It's not that we are going through a linear process towards a specific result. It is that the place from which we are perceiving from actually shifts and elevates such that we can see what is in front of us from a completely different point of view. And this is what I'm referring to with this vertical plane of growth. Because the horizontal plane of growth suggests that we need time and effort and space to move towards our goals, towards a certain outcome or result. But the vertical plane of growth suggests that everything is already here and now. And the only thing preventing us from recognizing it is the perception from which we are viewing that reality from. The point of view that we are looking from, which is framing this moment and all that it contains within a certain limited perception, within a certain limited understanding. So just as it seems that technology is advancing in a linear way, and maybe even an exponential way, this again is a reflection of our own self-development, our own self-evolution and mastery in this vertical sense, if we allow ourselves to recognize it as it really is. Because while it seems that this technology is advancing, it is really our own awareness, our own consciousness, which is elevating. Where we are looking from, where we are perceiving from, makes it appear that reality is completely changing. But really, it is the point of reference which is elevating within the spectrum of consciousness. And the more elevated our point of reference becomes, the greater the talents, abilities, and skills that we seem to have within our capacity, within our ability to deploy and to utilize. In other words, the greater access we have to this infinite intelligence. But if we limit our access to that intelligence merely by the interaction and the utilization of these technologies, again, we are doing ourselves a great disservice, because it is but a permission slip for us to recognize that we are capable, through this vertical plane of evolution, to embody these advancements, to embody these abilities, and for us to become more of what we already are by seeing from a higher perspective these higher faculties that we already have inherently within ourselves. So in the pursuit of your potential as a creator, whether it's an artistic expression or a creative endeavor or an entrepreneurial pursuit, we can discover this horizontal plane by acquiring knowledge and improving our skill sets with these relative tools that we have at our disposal. But don't limit yourself to this horizontal plane, because this technological world is changing so rapidly that your true growth and evolution of our collective is transitioning to this inner game, this vertical plane of development, where we become the creator, where we have direct access to the intelligence of our true nature, which allows for truly magical manifestations to occur, where we have the ability to shape reality to be whatever we desire it to be. And through practice in cultivating this subtle awareness, we can even purify our intentions and our desires such that the will of that higher intelligence, that faculty beyond our physical senses, can then operate through us and allow this world and this experience to become what it really wants to become. And this is when the true magic happens, when we allow ourselves to get out of the way so that this infinite intelligence can inform us and direct us and conduct our lives in such a way that brings harmony and peace and true prosperity. And this future is inevitable, but how long it takes for us to realize this future is entirely dependent on our willingness to surrender more and more this horizontal plane of development for this vertical path of ascension. And so you are here to discover so much more of your potential than you are even capable of recognizing in this moment. And it requires a letting go. It requires an expansion beyond the mind to see what is not yet visible, not yet perceivable, to make the unconscious conscious, and to expand awareness into a higher level of perception and understanding. And that is the potential that in our hearts we all truly desire to pursue, to become the creator.